when I'm just talking with an average agent, I'm typically looking at 2 leads a day, 1 offer a day is the way we look at it every day. Okay. Really quick breaking it down, 2 leads a day, 1 offer a day. At the beginning of your career and probably for the next 90 days, you might have to do 3 leads a day, 1 offer a day, just to kind of keep you in a mindset that will start building your database to a place where you feel comfortable. Because just like you were even mentioning with a lot of leads, and I've been having several conversations, like every lead you generate isn't going to be a good deal, right? And the reason why deals fall apart is because the deal actually sucks. And you get a happy-go-lucky buyer who happens to have a few $1,000,000 in their bank account and maybe they're not super seasoned, and you bring them a deal and they're like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. And then they all of a sudden can't get a loan at a loan to value anything above 60%. There's a lot more work that needs to be done to the property, and all of a sudden the renovation budget went from near nothing, hypothetical, to $300,000, and now they're like, this makes no sense, thanks. And this is why we try to, and what my biggest philosophy is when it comes to process is every morning we're prospecting for opportunities, seller lead focus only. Yeah. I don't prospect for buyers in the morning. My first 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, when you're prospecting, when I say prospecting for sellers. We're looking for seller leads. We're looking for individuals who want to sell their property at a fair and reasonable price. That's the simplicity. Your entire morning is trying to generate, and when I say generate leads, I'm not counting buyer leads. Buyer leads happen because we're prospecting for seller leads and they do not want to sell. And then in that conversation, when they say, hey, Alec, thanks for calling me, but I'm not interested in selling. Thank you. You flip that conversation. It was like, I can totally respect that. Would you be totally against buying something if I found something that was somewhat similar to your property here, 123 Main Street, right?
I was going to say, that's how I've gotten every single potential buyer is exactly from that. And that was the moment I realized, okay, because most of these guys are buyers, especially if they have retail, multifamily, like industrial guys, whatever. But especially the retail multifamily guys, like they'll buy another one. 100%.
When we say prospecting, it's only sellers. We do that till roughly 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Depending on your pipeline, I would tell you that probably for the next 90-ish days, maybe even 6 months, that you might push it to 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the absolute latest, and then spend from 2 o'clock or so, or whenever you can achieve this goal of the 3 leads minimum. Because we're just trying to pack your database with leads nonstop and trying to find the good leads that we know we can sell. Because just because someone says, yeah, I'm open to selling my property doesn't mean you're going to transact. Even to this day where my team generates 50 leads a day, right? Where even to this day, I know I'm not transacting on 50 leads a day. That doesn't make any sense, right? We're closing on a very small fraction of the amount of leads that we generate because not everyone's anywhere near remotely serious or open to selling today. Right. So,
or at a reasonable
price, database, right?
Yeah. So a lead is a person who wants to sell flat out. Now, when you say offer,
yes,
like your own letter of intent with the intent to acquire and or wholesale.
The second phase of your day, which is anywhere between 1 or 2 o'clock when that starts, right, is we're flipping now to the mindset of a buyer, right? Of saying, I now need to transact on these properties. How do I do that? And now it's all about offer generation. I split basically the way we teach it is lead generation and offer generation. That is the simplicity of commercial real estate. It is really boils down to those two pieces, right? You're generating leads to sell, and then you're generating offers on those properties. And that's it. Now, obviously, people do it in all sorts of ways. For us, let's say in the morning you generate a warehouse property, 20,000 square foot property, brings in $200,000 a year in gross income, nets about 100. They want $2 million. It's $100 a square foot. It's outside Detroit, outskirts of the area. Guy wants a 5 cap. What an average agent will do is that they will schedule a meeting next week or whenever they can. They go to the property. They pitch them the idea of listing the property for sale. They get a listing sometimes at $2 million. And then they realize that all the offers that are coming in are $1.2 million, $1.4 million, and the $2 million is absolutely outrageous, but the seller's not actually interested in selling for anything less than $2 million.
So what we do, a whole day driving out there.
Well, not only did you spend a whole day, you spend a bunch of money on marketing the property, a bunch of time marketing the property. Now you spent 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks dealing with the seller that actually 5 weeks ago you could have found out they actually were not interested in selling for anything less than $2 million, right? So what happens?
Buyers and let them tell you
exactly. So what we do is within our first 24 to 72 hours of working with any lead is we try to solve that problem. What is their number, right? The entire purpose of offer generation and the speed of doing so is to get an answer from the seller. I just want to know what's going on here. Are we going to transact together or are we not? I want to know that answer as fast as freaking possible versus waiting 4 weeks, 5 weeks, sometimes months when it comes to listing a property for sale. So the way we do it is similar to like you were mentioning, is we either write up a letter of intent or you can write up a PSA. We actually have a custom built PSA specifically for certain properties. You can easily just write up a letter of intent. It's the safest way to do it. And I write it in. What happens is, I'm going to say how I do it. I'm not telling you how to do it this way, but let me just share how I do it. My agents who are generating leads have a letter of intent in my LLC. So they're the agent and I'm the buyer.
I like that even more.
Okay. So structured a little bit differently. Not everyone, obviously, if you're doing it for yourself, because I buy a lot of properties and I'm looking to buy a lot of properties, but I also act as an agent on my own. So there is that dance at the very beginning where if you're just a solo agent, yes, you would have to create an LLC with a LLC to buy real estate in that you would also not be putting a commission on the deal. Where if you're like, I don't typically put myself as a commission and the buyer. That doesn't make any sense, right? If I'm calling, if you've heard my script 100 times, I call as an investor. Hey, I'm an investor in the market going through a 1031 exchange. I'm going through one right now. And we try to acquire the property.
Do you say that when you're not going through a 1031?
Of course. So the opening line, yeah. I happen to be going through one right now anyways, but I'll write the LOI in my name, no commission. What we'll do is that on that same exact similar property, where $2 million brings in $100,000 net, I would be offering like 800 grand on it, where I want it at a price where I know all day long that I could sell this property for substantially more than I'm buying it for today. Okay. Now look, on the off, like the very rare chance are they accepting my offer, but what I am doing, exactly, I'm price anchoring them. Exactly. So I'm price anchoring them, number one. Number two, if they happen to say yes, I'm getting a fantastic off-market deal. And then number three, what it does is that now I'm getting a counter. All I want is a counter. So instead of having to wait for another buyer to gather enough information that makes them feel comfortable to make an offer on a property, and what I teach is learning how to evaluate properties super quickly so that when you're making an offer, you can make an offer with confidence that like, hey, if they accepted 800, I probably could sell this deal tomorrow for at least $1 million, maybe more. Keep in mind that if you find a deal that good, which I've found several, have bought several, and I've wholesaled others, you now have the control.